Now, I don't know anything about Jay Shetty except that he has a good podcast. He has a slightly irritating voice. Sorry, I find him a bit irritating. His voice is a little irritating. His accent is very misplaced. So I heard both the audiobook and I had the physical copy of the book. I don't recommend people getting physical copies of books because makes the books very difficult to read. I prefer Kindle over all the other modes, and that's probably why it took me a good 7 days to finish this book. It's not that big really, but it covers a lot. Now, at first I thought this is just a flirt of some guy who wants to actually tell us about some very small issue in life, and I thought he's just probably going to address one thing, and I thought he's just wanted to write a book. So for the heck of it, he wrote a book in which he covers maybe one or two or three topics, but that's hardly it. This is a very comprehensive book. This book is very comprehensive. It lays down almost everything he had to say, and I felt he left nothing unsaid. And that being said, it did sometimes feel a bit stretched out, because when you're trying to explain something to spiritual to somebody and somebody is seeking it, they can only understand a milieu of what you're trying to say sometimes. But if they have somewhat of a quotient of understanding, then they can understand a bit more. But this is the gauntlet of everything he wanted to say. For example, this book has a part one which says let go. Okay, now within the let go chapter you have various other sub chapters like identity, like negativity, like fear, like intention. So he covers these topics very well, and part one is the best chapter. You'll feel a bit transformed after reading the part one of this book, which is quite an amazing feat in itself. And then when we go further, in part two, we have the big chapter called Grow. Okay, so he's addressing this point by point. He's basically somebody who has gone to India and he wants to be a monk. He's left everything in his life to pursue this dream and desire to be a monk. People are laughing at him, people are asking him, people are concerned about him, his parents are very concerned, but they support him. A 20-year-old guy goes to India to become a monk. And so he describes and takes brief outlets and describes what he experienced and what it was like to be a monk. And in part one, in Let Go, he really lets you accept your human condition. And he does borrow a very few quotes he borrows from here and there. It's not really about that. I'm a bit displaced right now, so I'm sorry. I'm doing this review because I wanted it to be a certain way, but life is not like that. It's about just doing things versus doing them ideally. That's the kind of philosophy I believe in. So chapter 2 or part 2 has Grow, which has purpose, routine, the mind, ego. I didn't want to read this book initially because I thought it's going to be a lot of talk about how to meditate, and that was one of the reasons I was not reading this book. I was holding off because I'm more of a very I'm a very how do I say it? I read a book and I really take it for its face value and I try to implement those things in my life. This, however, does involve you to do quite a bit of meditation. It will have a lot of exercises for you to do. For example, it'll ask you to enlist a bunch of times 5 wrongs which happened to you, 5 things which you didn't deserve in your life and that happened to you. And after you write it down, he might flip the switch on you and say, hey, I wanted you to write the 5 good things that happened to you, but you might have written the bad things. I wrote the good things that happened to me because I understood what he's going to do eventually. Talks about the ego, tries to get rid of the ego, talks about the mind, the constant chatter, gives very good, very, very unique references to the Bhagavad Gita and to Indian mythology, uses them absolutely aptly. And the last chapter is his biggest note about how you should live your life, and that is a chapter of give, gratitude, relationships, service. This does involve a bunch of talk about what your morning routine should be, what your evening routine should be, how you should think about your mindset towards your friends. It does talk about how he found his life partner and what he liked about her. All in all, it's a great damn book. It's a damn good book, but it's very difficult to read. And it's even more difficult to be an active reader who implements shit from whatever book he reads. And I give it a 4-star rating out of 5-star. Has it changed my mindset? Yes. I feel wrong if I don't wake up at the same time every day. I feel wrong if I don't practice meditation. It's been about 15 days since I finished reading this book, and I am seeing a bit of a change in my mindset towards everything. Um, I think everything that has to be gained in this world is within you right now. There's not going to be a time tomorrow where you're going to be better equipped. There's not going to be a time yesterday where you were better equipped to understand and deal with this world. And this is a very, very in-depth, intrinsic exercise in your mind's foreplay. And I highly recommend you read it. It says how to find your purpose, how to overcome negativity, how to stop overthinking, why comparison kills love, how to use your fear, why you can't. I have been in a better mood since I finished reading this book. Now that I'm thinking about it, I just have been in a better place, like mentally. It doesn't talk about leaving addictions like alcohol and all that. It gives very brief summaries of that. How to learn from everyone you meet, why you are not your thoughts. Is it preachy? Yes, you can say it is preachy at times, especially if you listen to the audiobook. But he has an amazing vernacular. His language is and his inferences are so unique that I had to be a fan. Like after reading just 2 chapters, I felt like a transformed human being. And that kind of experience only happens in very few select books. Like if you read Tony Robbins, he's a master. Like Eckhart Tolle, he's a master of spirituality. But there is no word in the world which is as abused as spirituality and God, so I won't go into that realm. This is Think Like a Monk by Shetty. I give it 4 stars. I know I've been yapping in this review. But what do I do, man? I don't know how to review a book of this level. It's another level, maybe one of the best books I've read this year. This was my 19th book of the year and pretty damn good. My goal this year is 50 books. Let's see if I do it. Join my journey, subscribe to this channel. And yeah, alright dude, bye.